poor, but you don't have to be dirty. There's no excuse for poor hygiene. You don't have to steal soap. Somebody will give you some soap. Teach them how to wash, so that once they cook that food, they don't leave the dishes for you to wash, but they know how to wash those dishes. And even if they don't cook it and you cook it, they can still wash the dishes because you cooked the meal for them. When you teach them how to wash, they know how to work a washing machine. If you don't have a washing machine, they will know their way to the laundromat. See, some of us don't remember that, but I remember there was a time that you had that little metal basket, and you carried all your little stuff to the laundromat, and you had a pocket full of quarters, and if you didn't, they had the change machine, so you could make change, and they even had the machine to buy the soap powder. We used to call it washing powder, so that you can wash your clothes. And see, it don't just stop with teaching them how to wash. Teach them the word I-R-O-N, iron. Introduce them to Mr. G.E. electric steam iron. So not only are they clean, but they are neat. You know, some folk, they're clean, but they're kind of rumpled. Teach them what a cat face is. That's what's on a cat's face, not what's in your shirt. Now, some of y'all don't know what a cat face is, do you? Some of you are so young that you don't know what a cat face is. But I'm going to teach you something this morning, and I'm not your mama. A cat face is when you don't straighten the material out tight enough, and you run that iron across it, and it leaves that crease in it, that down, and you can't get it out till you wash it again. That's a cat face. And I'm sure if some brother stood up right now and took his jacket off, you might see a cat face. So we teach them, mothers, we teach them about work. We teach them how to cook. We teach them how to wash. And we teach them how to iron, because each time they come out of your house, they represent you. So let these be the four-letter words that they hear spilling from your lips and that you take time to share with them. So yes, my mama taught me some four-letter words. But then the next thing she taught me is she taught me to be judgmental. Isn't that something? Now some of you saying that, what kind of mama did he have? First she taught him four-letter words. Now she wants him to be judgmental. But you see, when you teach someone how to be judgmental, people think that that's what's wrong with the world today. Folks judging other folk. When folks are judgmental, that gives rise to racism and classism and sexism and ageism. That's what's wrong with the world right now. That's why people have all these biases, because they're judging other people. And you know what? It can be rather upsetting to think that one segment of a population feels that it has the right to be the judge and jury of another set because they're judging folk. For did not Jesus say, "Judge not, that ye be not judged? For with what judgments you judge, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be used back to you." Yet you see, the truth of the matter is, who among us is not judgmental? If we have a person here this morning who's not judgmental, raise your hand. And how does that stack up then to what the Christ is saying? Well, I want to put it in everyday language. What Jesus is really saying, and what he meant, is that we need to know how to draw the line between what is an ethical appraisal and the difference between that and sharp-tongued criticism. He wants us to be critical and deliberate about what's right and what's wrong. He wants us to be critical and deliberate about deeds and about actions, but always be compassionate, always be tender-hearted about the individual that does the deed. That's what we need to learn. Mothers, when you teach your children to be judgmental, you do not teach them that one group or one set or one sex or one class or one gender is better than another. However, you must teach them that there are some things that some people do that are not good, are not right, and they ought not be doing them because they're not acceptable and they're not pleasing. They're not pleasing to man, and you know what? They're not pleasing to God. And teaching your children to be judgmental. You're giving them the right tools so that when they grow up in life, they can make the best choices when hard choices come. Hard choices come into every life. And if you don't have the tools, you're going to make a mess of your life. And oftentimes you'll make the mess of somebody else's life also. The child that has not been taught how to exercise good, sound, and moral judgments will not know how to respond when they face the question that Joshua put before the people of Israel in Shechem in his farewell address. He says, now we're about to cross this Jordan. We're about to now go into a land that the Amorites and the Pezerites and that the Mennonites are living. But now I want you this day, choose for yourself this day who you will serve. If they haven't been to Sunday school, if they haven't been to vacation Bible school, if they haven't been to youth ministry, if they haven't been taught, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If they haven't been taught, God bless the food we're about to receive for the nourishment of my body. If they haven't been taught that, then they will not say, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. You've got to teach them how to have good judgment. But then also Mama taught me something I believe she got from Lou Rawls. She taught me that love can be a hurting thing. Some of y'all remember that? Love can be a hurting thing. You know, up to a certain stage in all of our lives, most children who were blessed to be a product of a loving home came up under care and nurture, and they only saw the upside of life. We grew up so accustomed to the syrupy and to the pleasing and to the warm and fuzzy side of love that it took us by shock when you were exposed for the first time to what is called tough love. Can you remember how it felt when all of your life up until this juncture, whenever you asked Mama something, she said yes? Whenever you asked Daddy to take it, if you can go with them, he took you with them? When you finally got to the point and they said no, it rocked your little world. You wonder, what did I did wrong? What's going on right now? Why this new stern, this new firm outlook on life? Because you've always said yes before. It breaks their little hearts when the one who had only shown them the upside of love now has to show them love's painful side. Now, while these turn of events are not pleasing to the child, you know what? They're no cakewalk for the parent either. Because parents love to give their children. Parents love to do for their children. And parents also feel the pain when they have to tell you no. See, you don't really understand, child, when mom or dad says, I'm going to whip you, but it's going to hurt me more than you. You're going to say, I don't believe that. But when you really love that child, when you have invested all you got in that child, when you worry about that child when they're out of your sight for 5 minutes, when you understand how people are misusing and abusing and taking advantage of their children, and now you've got to take that belt, that switch, and whip your child, that's not a good feeling. It does hurt them more than it hurts you. Because love is a hurting thing. They will tell you no when all you want to do is hear yes. They will tell you that you can't go and be like all the rest. They will tell you that I will not settle for you being less than your best. Why? Because I love you so much. In some regards, when mothers teach us the painful, hurting side of love, they are exemplifying to us in their persona what God goes through and what Jesus goes through when they love us. For you see, the word says, God so loved the world that he gave us his son, knowing that he's going to have to suffer, bleed, and die for their sins. And Jesus loved us so much that when he went into the Garden of Gethsemane and he knew that Calvary was just over the horizon, instead of him going out the back door of the garden, he said, not my will, but thy will be done. That's hurting love. It's when we can come to deal that love is a hurting thing to realize what love is really all about.